Former President Bill Clinton has been on the campaign trail recently, stumping for his wife, who is trying to attain the Democratic Party nomination. Recently, he has been throwing daggers or trying to throw daggers at Bernie Sanders and Bernie Sanders supporters. He said that Bernie Sanders supporters are just like Tea Partiers. Tea Party supporters, yeah. Bernie Sanders supporters are one and the same to Tea Partiers. Bernie Sanders responded by saying that he understands that Bill Clinton is, trying to get his wife elected. So he understands his motivation, but that his comments were silly. I think that's, I think that's going without saying.
Yeah.
One of Hillary Clinton's supporters and surrogate, Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey, he was on the Morning Joe program a few days ago, and Joe Scarborough and Mika were asking him if he would support Bill Clinton's comments, and he would not answer. He all he did was deflect.
This is a Hillary supporter.
Yeah, this is and surrogate who talks on her behalf many times. And he kept saying that all he wanted to do was talk about his book. He came there to talk about his book, and Joe is saying that look, we want to talk about your book too, but you got to answer the question. But he never did.
I don't. To me, I don't. Personally, I don't think it was his. It shouldn't be his place to answer that question. That's not his talking point.
Right.
Why should he? That's not his talking point.
Right.
So why on the spot try to get him to develop a talking point surrounding a subject that didn't come from him?
Well, it's because it was such a sharp attack. And so again, her supporters have got to be like, well, look, do you feel this way too?
But see, honestly, it's smart by Cory Booker.
Oh yeah.
Because again, if he is a surrogate for Hillary Clinton and he gets a question off the cuff about something that her husband said, without any context,
right.
He hasn't talked to Bill. He most likely didn't see Bill's comments or like in totality. So I think it's smart of him not to comment. It's actually smart. And you say Joe Scarborough?
Joe Scarborough, yeah.
I think it's irresponsible on Joe Scarborough's part to not understand
he's a media figure. He wants an answer. He wants an answer.
But yeah, I know, and I know what he's trying to do. To me, if I was,
he shouldn't have been in that.
If I was Cory Booker, which I wouldn't be because I wouldn't be a surrogate for Hillary Clinton, but if I was, I wouldn't answer either because I don't know exactly why Bill said that. I'm gonna wait.
Who's at fault here is Bill, old Billy Clinton. That's who
he put everybody on the hot seat.
Exactly.
But I think Cory Booker did the right thing. Yeah, Cory Booker is actually smarter than Bill Clinton right now.
Because he didn't look. I understand that things get contentious within a campaign, but you don't really want to anger any side of the base. You don't want to anger people that will vote Democratic. You don't want to do that. And Cory Booker understands that. That's why he's not gonna be like, yeah, all of Bernie Sanders supporters are like Tea Partiers. Tea Partiers. So he understands the game. Bill Clinton, on the other hand, he's showing that he doesn't give a damn. He's gonna say whatever he wants to indict, Bernie Sanders and his supporters. He don't care about it.
Yeah, and pretty much the Bill Clinton's main reason for comparing Bernie Sanders supporters to Tea Partiers is the fact that, well, it's not a fact, but according to Bill Clinton, he tells people what they want to hear.
Yeah.
Now, just politically speaking, outside of Bernie Sanders, telling people what they want to hear is not exclusive to any party, any group, any constituency.
Right.
So I don't know why he felt the need to just say that, like, compare it to the Tea Party, as if they're the only party or they're the only group of people that get told what they want to hear.
No, I mean, and like I said, this is only an issue if whoever is talking and telling the people what they want to hear. It's only an issue if that particular person doesn't believe in what they're saying.
Yeah.
There is no evidence that Bernie Sanders is not being authentic in what he's saying. He's been saying the same thing for decades.
I mean, why can it be framed as he's telling people what he believes,
right?
And those people are connecting to that. I mean, Was he just telling people what they wanted to hear for 20 years? He's
Yeah.
pretty much been
Well, that's a long
as he's been
game.
pretty much
That's a
he's
long
pretty
game for
much had the
real.
same kind of outlook
Hmm.
for the last 20 years.
Exactly.
Just because it's becoming public now,
Right.
how has it become he's just telling them what they want to
Yeah.
hear? No, he's been like, no, your wife is doing that.
Mhm.
That's what your wife is doing.
So this isn't the only criticism being hurled at Bernie Sanders in his campaign. Now we talked about earlier about how Gloria Steinem and Madeleine Albright, we talked about how their sexist comments were reflecting negatively on Hillary Clinton's campaign. Well, now the Hillary Clinton campaign is trying to put that shoe on the other foot. So, at a recent campaign rally for Bernie Sanders at Morehouse College in Georgia, um, Killer Mike was on the stage and he was talking. And this is the quote that Hillary Clinton supporters and surrogates latched onto: "A uterus doesn't qualify you to be president of the United States." So, in response to that quote, the Hillary Clinton campaign responded swiftly, labeling it as sexist and inappropriate, um, and they took off. They took off from there.
There's a
But
reason
they
why.
forgot one thing, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, probably the reason why they took off is because they know good and well they screwed up.
Yeah,
Well, I would say they screwed up. I think Hillary Clinton surrogates screwed up.
yeah. And they
Um,
want to,
somehow put the shoe on the other foot.
right, like I
But
said, yeah.
in essence, I think I think it's safe to say that um, Killer Mike's comment, just that comment,
Hmm.
out of context,
Out of
just if
right.
somebody would just say a vagina doesn't qualify you to be president or whatever, like it's for somebody to say that
Yeah.
just as a statement. First, it
Hmm.
doesn't make any sense, so you have
Yeah.
to provide it with context. But
Yeah.
in light of Gloria Steinem and Madeleine Albright's comments,
Hmm.
I think it's safe to say that that was a response
Hmm.
to that.
And of course it was. So this was the whole scenario at this event at Morehouse. Killer Mike was speaking, and he was speaking about what one of his advisors, Jane Elliott. Now she's an anti racism and feminist activist. He was repeating what she had told him. Okay, so those weren't his words; those were her words. Okay, and even after the situation, she's come forward and she said, "Look, those were my words," and I think all this controversy is being spewed about is because Killer Mike is a man, and he said what I said, and somehow that's being looked at as sexist. But when you look at his whole comment, you'll see that it's not sexist at all. Let me read that to you. "When people tell us, 'Hold on, wait a while,' and that's what the other Democrat is telling you. 'Hold on, Black Lives Matter, just wait a while. Hold on, young people in this country, just wait a while.' And then she get good. She have your own mama come to you, your mama sit down and say, 'Well, you're a woman.' But I talked to Jane Elliott a few weeks ago, and Jane said, 'Michael, a uterus doesn't qualify you to be president of the United States. You have to have policy that's reflective of social justice. Paying women a fair wage is social justice. Making sure that minorities have jobs is social justice.'" So when you take a look at that whole quote, not just picking out one sentence, when you take a look at that whole quote, is that sexist?
It kind of tells a different story.
It tells a whole
It
different
basically
story.
it's basically saying like do their policies reflect
Exactly.
social justice? And if
Exactly.
they don't, simply putting a woman in office is
Hmm.
doesn't equate to any kind of
Hmm.
social change, or it doesn't hold any value simply because a woman's in office if she doesn't reflect
Hmm. See,
those.
Killer Mike and Jane Elliott, neither one of them were saying that gender should play any part in deciding who's qualified to be president.
That
No,
was the
that
point.
was the point of what they said. It's about policies. It's about their ideology. What are they actually going to do? That was, and we have to remember, this was in
Response.
response to Steinem's and Albright's comments. This was in response to those sexist comments. So, how is the response saying that, look, it's not about gender, it's about policy? That's exactly what Killer Mike's comment said. How is that sexist? This is a lame attempt, again, by the Hillary Clinton campaign just to throw some more stuff against the wall and see how much traction it's going to get, how much they can damage the Bernie Sanders campaign. That's all this was, an attack based on absolutely nothing, just like the Tea Party attack.